Next on Worcester News tonight, it's day 20 of the government shutdown, and the public schools could soon feel the impact from a program helping feed students. Plus, a roadblock in Northbridge. One resident says he owns the street and is worried someone may get hurt on his property. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Olivia Lemon. More on those stories in a moment, but first, snow flurries falling throughout the day today, but most of it isn't sticking. Here's meteorologist Tim Kelly with a quick look at our forecast.
Yeah, the snow flurries came in all the way from Canada right through Worcester and off to Cape Cod. Even had a little bit of snow today. A little bit indeed. At Wachusett, enough to sort of coat the snow that's been falling on and off last couple of days. The mountains of Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine picked up 15 inches of snow. You can really make out the jet stream in here. This is cold, dry air. It's going to get colder and it's going to get brighter tomorrow. Outside tonight, you can feel the chill. The temperature is falling through the 20s into the teens by morning. The wind from the northwest is diminishing a bit overnight. Still around 15 miles an hour, though, when we wake up. There's the clock going through sunrise, which is after 7 o'clock. It's only about 15 degrees outside. The wind chill factor pretty close to zero. Some of the coldest air so far this season. At the top of the hills, only about 19 or 20 tomorrow afternoon. Lower elevations, we are going to get to the mid-20s. Good amount of sunshine. High pressure comes in this weekend, keeps us cold, dry. We're tracking that southern snowstorm and a 10-day coming up in a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Tim. Federal businesses and employees are feeling the impact of the government shutdown, but soon federal food programs could also be affected. Some schools and food pantries across central Massachusetts say they are hoping it doesn't last much longer. Our Brittany Schaefer joins us live now to explain. Brittany?
Olivia, the Department of Agriculture funds school lunches and food banks. And while there aren't any issues yet, the Worcester County Food Bank says families won't be able to get as much food if the government shutdown continues into February. The partial government shutdown is into its third week. Food services funded by the Department of Agriculture could be in trouble if the shutdown continues.
The food that we receive from the United States Department of Agriculture is very important. As I said, it's about 2 million pounds of food.
The USDA gives the Worcester County Food Bank a third of their food. Executive Director Jean McMurray says they give out 109,000 meals every week. She says they need to keep their inventory high to meet demand.
Our supply of food from the USDA should be fine through February. But because of the uncertainty, we are all wondering what should we be doing, planning.
The Department of Agriculture also funds public school meal programs. 1,900 students within the Webster School District eat lunch at school. Food Service Director Ellen Nyland says they are following the shutdown closely.
It's important for any student that's eating lunch at school. We don't want any interruption of the program, so we just want it to run uninterrupted, and we're hoping that's what's going to happen.
If the shutdown moves into February, McMurray says the food bank likely wouldn't be able to meet the needs of their 118 partner agencies.
It would be a big loss. And of course, the best news would be that the government shutdown is over.
Here at the Worcester Public Schools, the superintendent says all of their students receive a free breakfast and lunch funded by the federal government, and they are working on alternate solutions if the government shutdown continues. In Worcester, Brittany Schaefer, Worcester News Tonight.
A judge here in Massachusetts now ruling breathalyzer tests cannot be used as evidence in court until the Office of Alcohol Testing proves its results are accurate. The judge also saying the office must undergo major reforms. The office plans to apply for national accreditation by August. School districts across the state are struggling to find substitute teachers, and while some are able to raise the pay to help attract more employees, Worcester Public Schools says there is not enough money in the budget. Our Chandler Walsh has the story.
The Worcester Public Schools are among area districts experiencing a shortage of substitute teachers. Superintendent Maureen Benenda says a growing economy and good job market may be factors.
There's just generally people aren't interested in substitute teaching.
The district is trying to solve the issue by recruiting college students and offering a slight pay raise for teachers' aides who sub. Benenda says students are put into the back of another teacher's classroom as a last resort.
It's not really impacting their learning, but it's not the same as when you have your own teacher right in front of you.
This week, the Spencer East Brookfield Regional School District approved a $10 pay raise for substitutes, bringing a day's pay to $95 for teachers with a degree and certification and $80 for subs without them.
And that puts us right in the middle. We're just looking to be fair and establish a fair and competitive wage for the region.
Superintendent Paul Haughey says the district noticed a drop in the number of substitutes going into the holidays and knew they had to make a change.
We've had other teachers give up their preps to cover classes, and that makes for a very long day for our teaching staff. Even our administration at times were pitch hitting and jumping in.
In Worcester, Benenda says the rate for subs has been $70 a day for several years, and there just isn't enough in the budget to raise it. She says the district first needs more classroom teachers and school psychologists and counselors.
Children that we have now coming to school with, as a result of a lot of trauma, many of them may be coming to the United States from other countries where they've been in refugee camps. We really want to provide the best services we can.
Public education officials say the shortage of substitute teachers is an issue across Worcester County. Benenda says at Worcester Public Schools, they typically have 50 to 75 substitutes a day, but a healthy amount would be 120. Live at Burncoat High School, Chandler Walsh, Worcester News Tonight.
Westborough State Hospital is sold to Atlanta home builder Pult Homes with plans to demolish the structure and rebuild. The company has plans to construct 14 buildings with 700 over 55 housing units. The town says demolition permits have been granted, but not permitting for the new units. The building was previously owned by the town. Harrington Hospital will be closing its 11-bed inpatient pediatric unit at the end of March. The Worcester Business Journal reports the closing is due to low patient volume. According to the hospital, over the past year, less than 2 patients a day using the pediatric inpatient unit. The hospital filed a notice of impending layoffs with the state to help employees find new jobs. Children who need to be admitted will be sent to UMass Memorial Medical Center in Worcester. Harrington says they will still offer outpatient pediatric care. A Northbridge resident is blocking driving access to West Hill Park until he says he hears from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Ross Smith says he owns the property and is worried someone may get hurt on it. Our Roslyn Flaherty joins us now with more. Roslyn?
Olivia, he only blocked a portion of the road he owns. He says he's tried working with a federal agency for years, but has gotten nowhere. Concrete blocks, cones, and a sign block an access point to West Hill Park in Northbridge. Ross Smith put up the roadblocks to get the U.S. government's attention.
You stand up and you let your voice be heard.
Smith has owned the portion of West Hill Road leading into the park for 7 years. The park is owned by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Smith says he's allowed them and the public to use it, but he is now worried about liability if someone gets hurt on his land. He's been trying to meet with the federal agency for years to come up with a solution, but says they've ignored him.
We've allowed this to happen all these years, and they've done nothing to help accommodate and to get it corrected.
He also wants to build a home for his son on his land. He wants the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to consent to a proposed driveway.
I'm trying to get them to come to the table to get resolution. If the house lot comes out of it, that's a bonus for us, but that is not our main reason.
The Corps of Engineers released a statement reading in part, "The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers is diligently working towards a resolution of this issue, with the goal of providing access to West Hill Park for the upcoming 2019 recreation season." Catherine Brochu is one of Smith's neighbors. She says she understands his frustration, but people do like to access the park from there.
People like to go down there, walk their dogs at this time of year.
Smith says he's sorry the public can't access the park by car. He just wants them to understand his concern.
If somebody gets hurt on our property, they could in fact come sue us. And so, we have a lot to lose.
The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers says the park is open from May to September and people can access it from another point in Uxbridge. Roslyn Flaherty, Worcester News Tonight.
A $60,000 grant allows NEADS in Princeton to buy a new handicap-accessible van. The van is used to safely transport clients and their service dogs from their home base in Princeton to several other locations. NEADS raises and trains service dogs and then pairs them with children and adults with physical or mental disabilities. They say this van will make transportation much easier.
Allows us to move our clients that are in wheelchairs in particular from one location to another, and it provides the opportunity for us to move our canines. Most all of our dogs are trained in prison, so there's many times we have to bring a fair number of dogs back to campus.
And the grant was one of 15 Activation Fund grants recently awarded by the Health Foundation of Central Mass, totaling more than $1 million. The state is inching closer to licensing so-called cannabis cafes where people can openly smoke pot. Meanwhile, a panel studying marijuana recommending licenses for businesses that would deliver marijuana to people's homes. Both items still need full approval from the Cannabis Control Commission.